did online and in person in my basement with a baby. I actually was working full time in oil and gas at the time, so this was a part time gig for me. And then finally, I decided, you know what? I don't want to be doing my career anymore. This is my passion. I've been in fitness in some perspective for my whole life, and I just thought this is a really big calling for me. I walked away from a full time career that I had for 20 years and started my business. Again, started it online, went into my basement, and now I have had a studio for the 7 years, and we're actually looking at expanding in 2026.
Welcome back to Built for Profit, guys. I am thrilled today to talk to Miss Christy and just really hear her story about how she dove into the world where she gets to serve people in the postpartum world. And yeah, she's calling in from Alberta, Canada, which I'm also fired up about to kind of hear the story of how she got in there. So we were actually just talking right before we clicked record of how she was actually in Houston last week. So, yeah, Christy, fired up. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Excited to have you here. And really, to kind of kick us off, I would love for you just to kind of dive into your story a little bit. How did you get to where you're at today? And tell us a little bit about what you do.
Thank you, Austin. I'm so excited to be here and share a little bit about my story. I think that it's just so cool to have entrepreneurs come together in all ranges and tell our stories. So, I mean, my story, I think it starts a lot like other founder stories. It came from a place of my own pain and struggles and experiences as a mom. So I own a company called Empower Fit. We support postnatal moms, really moms of all ages and stages, just to be their best healthy self, but mostly to fill the gaps in terms of women's health care, pelvic floor, recovery. There's just a big gap there. I don't know what it's like in the States, but here there's a huge gap in Canada in terms of what mom goes through from pregnancy and then afterwards. So we fill that gap for them. And that's exactly why I started was I felt like there was that gap for myself as a new mom. This was 11 years ago. And when I started to realize that there was a gap, I'm the type of person that I was like, well, I just need to fill this gap. How do I figure out a solution for this gap? And then I thought, well, if I can do it, then why not share it with other moms? And so I actually started it online. I started it as an online business. In fact, my first mentor and business coach was from Florida. Her name is Shira Nelson. And so she started me and I got it started that way. And then somebody encouraged me to start training out of my basement. And so then I took it the next step and did online and in person in my basement with a baby. And I actually was working full time in oil and gas at the time. So this was a part time gig for me. I had a full time career. And then finally I decided, you know what? I don't want to be doing my career anymore. This is my passion. I've been in fitness in some perspective for my whole life. And I just thought this is a really big calling for me. And I had the discussion with my husband and I walked away from a full-time career that I had for 20 years and started my business. So again, started it online, went into my basement, and now I have had a studio for the 7 years, and we're actually looking at expanding in 2026. So it's grown
Incredible.
massively.
Christy, well, congratulations on that. I would love, I can't wait to talk about that here in just a second. I would love for you to kind of go back and say, okay, working full-time job in the oil and gas industry, had your first child 11 years ago, going into the world of being like, there's a gap in the market. I want to fill this gap. So can you talk a little bit about working full-time while also building a business and how long that took before you took the leap of faith to say, I'm doing this full-time, and you had that conversation with your husband?
Yeah. Well, I would say it was about a year
Okay.
where I had her. I went to, so being, I was a contractor, which means I didn't really have the traditional maternity leave. We get a year here in Canada. I didn't take that year. I went back to work quite quickly because I really valued my career. I worked very hard to get to where I was at, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to lose that. And so, which again, as a postpartum mom, is a concern, right? And so,
Yeah.
I started to figure out that I wanted to get back into fitness and helping moms fairly early on. And I'd say I kind of just jumped right into it and started, going back and certifying and doing the things that I felt like I needed to do to be legit again after being sort of out of the fitness industry for a while.
Yeah.
And she was about a year and a half when I quit my full-time job. So
Wow.
it escalated quite quickly, and I think mostly from my own just needs to be out of the corporate world and be doing something that really fueled my own ambitions and my own tank, my own
Yeah,
passions. Yeah.
that is remarkable. And so, remind me again, how many kids do you have now?
I have two, so I have a 16-year-old and 11-year-old. Yeah, so this was after my second that I started in PowerFit.
Yeah, that is so cool. Okay, so coach us through a little bit how, how you get introduced to clients, and then really kind of ideal clients. It kind of makes sense of anybody that's really just had a baby. But I'm curious, like, how do you serve them? Like, what does that look like inside your world?
Yeah, so a lot of our clients, like we do a ton of meta marketing, like Facebook ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is a huge part of how we found. But also, I'm in a fairly small town. We are a suburb of Edmonton, which is the capital city up here in Alberta. So word of mouth is huge. Like Facebook moms groups they're kind of the Bible. Everybody goes there to ask a question, and we get referred a lot, which is really great. So to be that word of mouth place is really special. But ideally, our demographic is 25 or 28-year-old to 40-year-old moms who
Yeah.
are in that first, ideally we're looking for those moms within the first year postpartum, because we're really trying to bridge the gap where moms just don't know what to do. They're told to just rest, and after 6 weeks you should be okay to do what you used to do, and unfortunately that's just not great advice. So
Yeah.
we're helping them restore their core and pelvic floor. We're helping them navigate not sleeping, breastfeeding. We're helping them navigate expectations to just sort of bounce back and fit into their clothes a certain way. So there's just so many pressures as a new mom.
Yeah.
I'm a mom at any stage, but primarily as a new mom, it's really all about the baby and not about the mom. So we help them just take a step back and clear out the noise from things like Instagram and TikTok, where it can just be very overwhelming, and allow them a space and a community. And we do it in person and online, and we allow our clients just to come in and have a guiding voice and a community of other moms going through the same things, and show them the right process that we know can actually help them recover and be in a really good space, not just now but in another 20 years or 30 years.
Yeah.
We're really hoping to build them up for life using strength, pelvic floor, all the things.
Christy, I love it so much. And so, obviously, we didn't talk about this before, but we just had our first child 13 months ago.
Oh,
And so my wife is like,
congratulations.
right, she fully understands exactly where you're coming from. She's on multiple
Yes.
Facebook groups. She actually goes to somebody here locally to like understand. I never even knew what the term pelvic floor meant, but we've been coached up on
And
all
but
that.
here we are.
And so I just love how you're serving, because she's obviously been a beneficiary for someone local where we are here in
Yes.
Birmingham. But it's just such a need out there for sure. Just because, like you said, those first few months doing something that you've never been coached or whatever, you know how to do, you're just chaotic, lack of sleep. You're trying to understand what's right, what's wrong. And so I love what you're doing and serving new moms doing that. I think that's beautiful. Okay. So I would love to know from you, okay, you started it, in your basement, whatever, kind of figuring that whole thing out. And then now you said have a studio, and then also looking to expand, which is just so cool. So I would love to know, you serve people not just in the studio, but obviously online as well. How does that process work? What's the difference between the two, kind of thing? And then also kind of dangle the carrot for us a little bit of what expansion looks like for you.
Yeah, so we decided in 2019, right before COVID, to open a studio. It was kind of more it was like my husband's dream to have a studio. He was like really pushing me to do it, and I was like, no, 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 I'm never gonna do it. That's too much commitment.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Had no idea what I was doing. Opened a
Yeah.
studio, started hosting the classes that I was hosting in my basement in the studio. It was small. And then fast forward to March 2020, and I felt like I was just getting my feet under me. We were kind of at that make or break point where I thought, I gotta do this or we're gonna close the doors. And I did it.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. So we've been really just working on building our clientele, again, building a safe space in the studio where moms can come. So it's not just about fitness. We have a physiotherapist, we have an athletic therapist. All of our practitioners specialize in pelvic floor, postpartum rehab, pregnancy, things like that. So when they come in, it's really a one-stop shop where they can get
Yeah.
everything they need, because that collaborative approach also helps them. It reduces time at appointments and traveling, and different opinions on their recovery. And so that really helps. And so what we've done is we've worked really hard to bring that program to the online world, because obviously there's women everywhere that just don't have the same access to be able to travel or just find someone locally. There's a lack of that. So it's really about helping them find that space to be able to do that. So yeah, over the last 6 years, we have really grown the studio to over 200 members. We have, I mean, at least that many physiotherapy clients, and we're looking at expanding and actually doubling the space in early 2026. We're just in the final sort of steps of negotiating out our lease and so on.
Wow. So are y'all going to expand in the existing building that you're in, or do another location, or what's
No,
that?
we're gonna move into a new location. It's actually right across the street. It's very close by. And so we're just gonna renovate and expand and move and start Empower Fit 2.0.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go. I love it, Chris. That's super exciting. Well, congratulations again. That's
thank
exciting
you.
time for y'all for sure. So, can you coach us up a little bit on how your business model works? You talked about like 200 members. Is it like a gym membership type model, or is it a different than that? Or can you kind of walk us through what that looks like?
Yeah, most of our clients come into us typically on like a time frame sort of program, so an 8 week, 6 week, 10 week sort of program where they're coming in to really build a foundation and learn the fundamentals of what they need in order to progress appropriately. So if it's our postpartum moms, they are doing our fourth trimester transformation, which includes physiotherapy support, nutrition support, and then a guided fitness approach so that we're not skipping steps. That's our biggest model, is we don't want to skip steps.
Yeah.
Then that allows them to then transition into a monthly gym type membership. So
Yeah.
our biggest flex at Empower Fit is we cost the same as everybody locally, but we provide so much more value and such a
Yeah.
different experience that it's kind of a no-brainer to invest in coming to Empower Fit. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, usually they come in on a sort of a higher end time framed program to build that foundation and then progress into more of that lifestyle type program.
I love that. So I guess obviously I love the kind of one-stop shop mentality to say like you don't have to go back and forth and hear different things and play the phone tag game and all the stuff. And so for you doing this online, does it look more like you're like coaching people with what to do in their own living rooms, or do you partner with people locally to where they're at, or how does that work?
No, it's more coaching people in their own homes. So it's a lot more for those women that want to just do it from home, or they maybe have a gym that's, they just have a local rec center. They live in a rural area, which is big in Alberta. There's a lot of rural areas.
Yeah.
And so it's about giving them that opportunity to be a part of our online community where they can ask questions and they can get guidance when they need it, but it allows them the flexibility and the affordability as well to be able to do it from home. So it really works out quite well. And I'll just do a little plug that it is on sale on Wednesday for our Black Friday sale. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, it just allows us to be able to support women wherever they're at and give them that opportunity to work with us.
Yeah, that is so great, Christy. I really, really love it that you've catered to really expand and kind of serve people all over. I think that is a beautiful thing. Cool. Okay, so diving into your business, obviously it's fun. You're seeing growth. You're even, expanding like we talked about. I'm curious, what do you feel like right now you have momentum in your business that you like, man, we're really doing well in this? And then on the flip side of that, what do you feel like is like the lowest slat in the bucket or the bottleneck, I guess, from what you're working on in the business?
Yeah, I would say right now the momentum honestly is the level of client care that my team provides. Like it's unlike anything else. The feedback that we get from clients is life changing. It's just such a different experience. And so being able to know that I have a team that really does excel at what they do, and it just creates this. That's why we get such great word of mouth, right? It's tough
Yeah.
to kind of build from that perspective, especially as a new mom. But having that immediate trust that we have, it really comes from the team that I have and the processes that we have and the systems that we have in place to make sure that we're running smoothly and people are happy.
Yeah.
And I would say I think the biggest bottleneck is. Gosh, you know what? I would say just being able to grow as fast as I want to. With growth, there's always these little hiccups and always these, little things that kind of tend to fall apart when you're growing. And so I would say it's just, that's the point where we're at right now is where we're growing and we're expanding. And so it's just fixing little things on how do we grow appropriately and continue to provide that level of service and continue to, grow as well and expand on how we can serve our community. So I would say that's always the bottleneck is just the amount of growth that we've had over the last 7 years. It's always that little bit of a friction point.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, everybody knows as you grow, there's always growing pains. That's part of the
Yes.
growth.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly. You love it, but you also think, oh my gosh.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so tell us a little bit about. I'm curious from team size and you being able to like distill your passion behind it, distill your like energy and how you want to serve people, and have your team members kind of represent you really, really well doing that. What does that look like? Are you spending time? What is it like on a weekly or monthly basis? Really, just investing in your team look like?
Yeah, so I meet with all of my team members every week one on one, and we do have a group huddle every Monday at lunch. So it's really important to me. And working with Dan Martell, he teaches a lot about how to be a transformational leader rather than being a task-based leader, right? And I'll be honest, that's exactly how I used to coach. I used it how I used to lead, and it's really transformed me as a leader, and even just seeing my team being leaders, helping them understand, okay, what are our aligned goals? What do you want? What do I want? How do we make them work together? What's the big picture? But ultimately, too, is like, why are you here? Who are we serving? We're not just here to run a business. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have to support ourselves, but we're doing it because we're passionate about what we want to do. And so, how do we translate that passion into profit, right? How do we serve our people, but also continue to make money for ourselves, but also more money so we can serve them at a higher level, right? More money means more good things for our community and more good things for our team. So it's really about diving into and tapping into what really lights my team up. I found that is also like stop pushing a round peg into a square hole, and it's just making sure that I know what lights them up so that I can direct them appropriately and pair them in a way so that they are as successful as possible.
Yeah. So, Christy, I love what you just mentioned, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. But talking about how, like, serving your clients well enough so that you actually do create the profit or the margins in your business that you can get even more creative to serve them even better. And I
Hmm.
just love that because I think every business owner needs to hear that. It's not about just making enough money to pay your people so then you can just continue to do what you do. You have to have margin in there to get creative, to be able to figure out better ways to serve people, invest in things that's going to create better services for people. I just love that so much. So I'm curious, going back to your weekly meetings. So how many team members did you say you have?
I have 7 right now.
Okay. So do you feel like are you getting at a capacity where you feel like the one-on-ones every single week plus the team huddle is pulling you away from like focusing on the business, or you're like, no, we're in a super, super sweet spot? I'm curious to kind of get your feedback a little bit on at what gauge as you continue to grow and expand, do you feel like you need to break out? Like if you're managing and meeting one-on-one with 20 people, are you going to be able to do that, or how do you kind of foresee that into the future?
Yeah, so luckily I have team members that will eventually take over some of this for myself.
Yeah.
For example, our group huddles will be eventually something that my own assistant, or I have a program director, her name's Carrie, and man, she helps me so much. So she's actually in charge of the coaching team. So it's going to be a lot easier for her to be able to take over that role, and we're sort of slowly building her into more of an overseeing role than a technical role. So I definitely have team members built in to slowly evolve and take over. And like I said, man, I just have such a great team, and I really have some really ambitious women that want to do more and want to level up and want to be more in that management. They see the bigger picture. So it's really great for me to sit with them one on one right now because I know that when I'm ready, I'll be able to say, here you go. And have them be like, yes, thank you. This is so great. And this isn't a surprise. And this is something we've talked about and we've nurtured the conversation and they're prepared for it. And they can see the value in what we do because I've done it with them. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm really actually very excited about this expansion and being able to take my team to the next level because when I see my team succeed, like it is such a rewarding experience because as a new business owner, I wasn't a great leader in the beginning. So I made a lot of mistakes. So now that I'm at that point where I can see that the things I'm doing are really working and I get feedback from my team that I am a great leader,
Yeah.
man, that goes a long way to making me want to continue to do the things that I do for them.
That is so good, Christy. And I think there's just power in the ability to start. And I love that you were just like, I don't know what kind of leader I am. I don't know how this is going to play out, but I'm just going to start and evolve along the way. And there's just, I feel like that's something that holds so many people back to be like, well, there's so many worries and unknowns about doing something. So they want to get the full picture of something before they ever take that first step. And it's just not true in life, right? So you just,
Yeah,
the only way to know is to actually be in the deep of it to then understand how do I continue to
100%.
go, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, that is so
I
so
will
cool.
say there was a book that one of my mentors gave me called The E Myth. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with it?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
love that book. Yeah.
That book was a game changer for me. So if anybody out there feels like they're struggling and they're starting off, like I wish I would have found that book sooner because by the time I found that book, the first time I read it, I just started crying because I was like, this is me. This I am the person in the book and those are my people and these are the
Yeah.
failures that I've had so far.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God there's an answer to let me to see what I can do to change that and get better. So that was a huge game changer for me was that
Yeah.
book.
And I love that you mentioned that, Christy, because between eMyth and Buy Back Your Time, to me, those
Yes.
are the best two playbooks of actually
Mhm.
what to do as a business owner. It gives you tangible like
Oh,
plays to run versus like concepts. It literally says this is how to go do this. And so I
yes.
love recommending both of those two books as well. I love it so
Me too. I tell people all the time, like, well, have you read Buy Back Your Time? Well, have you listened to Buy Back Your Time? I was like, and that's been the biggest game changer for me the last year in my
much.
business was just working with Dan and reading the book and implementing all those strategies. Like,
Yeah.
what a difference. Yeah.
So true. Okay, real quick, I would love to get your kind of like thought process. Obviously expanding in 2026, and even from the standpoint of thinking about when's my next best time to hire my next employee that's going to serve, our clients. I'm curious, like, what are you looking at from a business metric standpoint, or what that looks like, especially from a growth standpoint? Because the thing we talk a lot of time, all the time with our clients is in every phase of business, you have to invest money before you see the return on that, right? And that's the beauty of having margin to be able to do that for growth. But like for you, taking the leap of faith, expanding into a new lease, taking the leap of faith, knowing that as we expand, that's probably going to require more people. So, are there certain metrics that you look at to feel confident about making that leap? Or are you just like, hey, I'm just trusting that we're going to continue to serve well and see what happens?
I mean, a little bit of both, but I have been working with a company called Gym Launch for the last 3 years. I'm
Yep.
not with them anymore, but they made a
Yep.
significant difference in how I operated my gym and really, I mean, I doubled my revenue in a year. It was very phenomenal and a lot of growth. And so one of the metrics that we track is our 30-40-30. 30% goes to payroll, 40% goes to operating costs, and 30% should go to profits.
Awesome.
Based on those numbers, it helps me just to, okay, where am I overspending? Which, let's face it, happens a lot as an entrepreneur. It gets very easy to overspend. And then it allows me to see, okay, well, where can I shift within the business to allow for more profit so I can shift those numbers? And one of the big things as for a gym is obviously capacity. And the current spot that I'm in right now, it just doesn't allow for a lot of capacity or for us to be able to, for example, do group fitness and personal training at the same time. We can do one or the other. So we're very limited in where we're at. So I knowing that and knowing the numbers and knowing what my capacity could be, it allows me to see then what does that, how does that differentiate my profit and my margin and the end result. And so expanding was kind of a no-brainer. It's been something I wanted to do for a very long time because I knew I was in that sort of I had a lid on me and I didn't want that lid there anymore. So now when I look at hiring staff, I actually don't need a ton more staff. I just have more capacity to put more people in a room, which is going to allow me to increase my profit at the end of the day and have a variety of services running at the same time as well to again increase that profit over time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so, going along with that, I think that's a beauty that of building out the process of like knowing what your strengths are and being able to do that. Is there a worry at all from your standpoint, or like how, as you do more one to many and kind of more people in a room for that one person, is there anything that you're thinking about that you need to implement from a standpoint of like, how do I still have the personal touch, as you do grow and there's more people in the room for that one teacher or whatever that looks like? how are you thinking about that? Of going from more people, how do you serve them in the same level of capacity that you're doing now?
Yeah. So, when I look at increasing my capacity, it's actually not as much as like I really only need three, four more people in the room to make a significant difference.
Okay.
And having the level of coaches that I have and the teaching that we have, I'm so confident in their abilities to handle that many more people. Also, I know when I first started this business, I was doing more people in a room, and it's
Yeah,
just like
you were just a one man show. That's right.
yeah, and so since COVID, it's like shrunk, 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 shrunk.
Yeah.
Whereas now I know, like, hey, listen, I used to do this on my own with five more people in the room, and
Yeah.
I was a rock star. So I know it can be done.
Yeah. That's great.
And so it's really just a matter of making sure that I have the right people
Yeah.
to do it, right? We call them sharks. We call
Yeah.
our coaches sharks. They're the sharks that go out there and they're able to pinpoint what they need to do and really touch those people and check in with them and give them the little nose nudges and stuff like that. And so I'm really comfortable and confident with the team that I have right now. And then the people that we do bring on have a great template for what to learn from and be mentored into a new role.
Yeah, that's so good. I love it. Okay, I love your just the mentality, the it almost flows off the tongue so well, the 30 40 30. I think that every business owner needs a metric like that they continue to go back to say like this is where we know if we're doing this, we're healthy and in a good place. I'm curious for you, what does that look like to kind of dive in and understand if you're on track or off track? Do you look at that weekly, monthly, like how do you make sure that you are living out the 30 40 30?
Yeah, so you're right because some months it's a little bit easier to do it by quarter. Like we track it every month, but when we look at it over, every quarter, it gives us a clearer picture of where we're at. Because obviously sometimes we have bigger investments because we're investing in a new space, and so the
Yeah.
30 40 30 doesn't really look the same.
Yeah, yeah.
But it really, I mean, I have a great accountant. I'm not the numbers person, so having someone again on my team that can handle those things and provide me the reports and give me that guidance is super important. But it really allows me to look at, okay, am I investing in the right things? If my payroll is over, why? Was I investing in additional education for them because it's going to improve my profit down the road? Am
Yeah.
I investing in operating expenses that are frivolous and we just need to cut our Amazon spending? Or was there something that we really needed to repair or invest in equipment wise, things like that? So it
Yeah.
just allows you to see, okay, where am I investing? Where am I overspending? And why am I cutting into my profit? And how can I make that change? And it might just be something like, oh, I just need to get a few more clients to ease the burden of that month or that quarter. But it allows you to really dive into it quite easily.
Yeah, I love that. So, and what, I'm just going to reiterate something that's so powerful for you that you're running, Christy, is that like we actually love and what we kind of coach up people to do as well is always look at your budget as a percent of revenue, which is exactly what
Hmm.
you just did 30 40 30.
Yeah.
It's not saying our office rent needs to be $5,000 consistently for the next 12 months. It's literally what buckets of things that we group together to make sure they're in the safe zone percentages.
Yes.
And to your point, I love the concept of saying like when we do need to dip into profit to pay for an additional expense for growth, can we track along the way the return on the investment of that profit so we know we can expect to get back to 30% at some point down the road because
Hmm.
it's an investment to get back to the growth.
Yes.
And so I love the play that you're running. That's so cool. I'm curious, is there any other like key performance indicators or something that as an owner that you like consistently looking at to see if your business is healthy or not?
Well, for a gym, we're really looking at churn. So we just look at how many members are we churning out, and unfortunately for my demographic, churn is a bit of a thing because we have so many moms that come to us in maternity when they're on maternity leave, and they make the trek. Maybe we would live further away than they would normally go, but when they don't work, they make the trip. So we have a lot of women that leave us in person anyways to go back to maybe our online programming or they join a gym closer by when they go back to work. So, but churn is a big thing for us because it doesn't just show me how many people are leaving. It identifies if there's something in our processes that are wrong. Or what is our client care doing? How is our programming? Is there something wrong in the booking end of things? It's just frustrating people when they're leaving. So it really helps me, identify why are these people leaving? What kind of conversations do we have? And then filling those holes in the bucket.
Yeah, that is so good, Christy. It's so funny you mentioned that. We literally just had a team meeting at Flywheel yesterday with same exact conversation, churn and understanding reasons for leaving. And what we've actually built out is a pie chart over the last 12 months to say not only is we want to see the reasons for leaving and the majority of the reasons of why people are leaving based on certain buckets that we group them into, but we also want to see what is the lifetime gross profit of the people that are leaving and those reasons. So we want to look, are the people that are leaving that have barely paid us, and should we care about that? Or the people that are leaving paid us a lot, and we should care more about retaining those people?
100%, yes.
Beautiful way to look at it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, as we wrap up a little bit, I'm very curious. Well, let's talk one more quick segment on the profit side. At what point in your journey did you find the 30, 40, 30 metric that you felt good about? Was that going through the gym launch program, or was that something you knew early on, or kind of speak to that
No,
a little bit?
yeah, that was something that the gym launch people taught me. I don't know if you follow them or know Kale Owen, but that's something that they teach in the program, but they preach it quite free. Oh, and Alex Hormozy too. I mean, that's something
Oh,
that
yeah.
he said frequently in his podcasts and things like that. And it's just it's something that they teach you right away to track those metrics and to follow that methodology. So it just always gives you a baseline. So when you get on a meeting, it's like, okay, well, where are you at with your 30, 40, 30? And you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so that's something that we've been utilizing for the last three years, and it really is a game changer in the ability to really understand where finances are in your business.
Yeah. I'm curious if you go back and put yourself in your shoes 5, 6, 7 years ago. Did you feel lost from like I don't even understand what I'm shooting for from profit standpoint, or did you still feel confident and this was just a better system?
Oh my gosh, no, I had no idea what I was doing when I started. Yeah, I had no idea. I we literally jumped into this with our own line of credit and no funding, and just like let's do it with the belief that I could get it off the ground. And after a year, yeah, because we opened early 2019, so then after a year, we were really at that do or die space. Like, we'll give it another month, and if we don't do it, well, I guess we tried our best. And I
Yeah.
actually bought the gym. So what the gym launch book was free at the time, and my husband said, "You absolutely cannot hire them, but you can get the book, and I trust in you that if you do what the book says and it works,
Yeah.
then we can look at getting help down the road." So the book was free. You had to pay $9.97 for shipping. I bought the book, and within 2 weeks, I made $20,000, which was more than I'd made in like 3 months previous. So I just felt like I'd hit the jackpot, and it was a game changer. And then we closed down for COVID 2 weeks later. So it was just this really weird. And so we survived COVID, made it through. And then eventually on the end, when I knew, like, I was like, I survived COVID. I can do this. My business is worth something. Then I hired Gym Launch, and it was just off from there. It was an
Yeah.
incredible experience. Yeah.
Okay. As one other last question I'd love to ask. Obviously, in the gym membership, you're hands on serving people. Have you started to think about like AI and what that looks like in your business, or can you speak to that a little bit of like what you're thinking about, or even already implementing inside your business?
Oh my gosh, ChatGPT is like our best friend already. So yes, we use AI in so many things. I mean, my whole team has been instructed to use it, and we've used a lot of Dan's prompts and support and stuff like that to build our own custom GPTs and things like that. And so it really has made both myself, my assistant, and my coaches more efficient in doing just a lot of the admin work that comes with running events and running programs and things like that. So that's really helped us to be able to get that side of this so we can focus on helping the people and less
Yeah.
on doing the boring admin stuff and posting in Facebook groups and social media and that type of stuff. So, and then of course, like, I mean, everything that we use is software based and cloud based. So they have their own AI, just in terms of teaching us how to use things. So I would say AI is getting pretty integrated into our business. But as for actually serving people, that's why I feel like, we have one of those businesses that's going to be really hard to replace with AI, because it's about the human connection, right? Especially as a new mom, it's just being able to connect with other moms and feel seen. And so, but AI definitely allows us to be able to show up for that better by taking away some of the tasks that just
Love it.
used to bog us down.
That point right there is so brilliant. I love it because you're exactly right. You get to do the higher value human touch things when you
Mhm.
get all the admin stuff off your plate that some machine could potentially do.
Absolutely.
And there's so much power in that, Christy. I love it so much. Okay, I feel like we could talk for hours.
I know.
We're kind of out of time. But is there anything else on your heart, or anything that you just kind of like, anything we didn't talk about today that you want to dive into?
You know what? I just think that, I mean, if you have entrepreneurs watching this, I feel like it's just telling them, if you have a passion, like, listen to it, and seek answers on how you can fulfill that passion now, because I think you'll regret it down the line if you don't do it.
Yeah.
And also, if you're a mom and you're listening to this, or a husband like yourself who has a wife that has had babies, let them know that there is help out there, whether it's locally or online, to search it, and that they deserve it. And so there's just, again, I could just talk for hours about all the things, business, postpartum, you name it.
Yeah, I love it so much. Well, I'm definitely going to connect you and my wife. I know she'll definitely follow you on Instagram. This is so much fun that we're talking
That's
about. So
fantastic.
this is super fresh for her as well. And so
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, Christy. Love how you're surfing people. That's so fun. So if anybody wants to find more out about you, where do they go to find you?
Yeah, so they can find me at Christy underscore Amason, Amason, so Amazon with an S. But they can follow Empower Fit, which is my business, at Empower Fit SHPK. It's just short for Sherwood Park, which is where we're located. So it's Empower Fit SHPK, and just follow us and have some fun. And again, there's Black Friday deals going on all week, so DM me if you're interested.
I love it, Christy. That's fantastic. We'll definitely link those in the show notes. So thank you again so much for just opening up the curtains about what you're doing, how you're serving people. Just really, really enjoyed the conversation today.
Yes, me too.
All right.